All right, and I have Leo rising and sun. This Libra lunar eclipse is happening in your third house with the south node, and the north node and the sun are opposite in the sign of Aries in the ninth house. So, first of all, I feel like this is a time in which you guys are going to be kind of having this opportunity to bridge between two realities. And I think you might feel like you are in a state of transition. I often see the third house and the ninth house being strong in terms of rebuilding a reality for ourselves. And it's more so from the inside out, from our mindset and our heart and our connection to others, that we're able to rebuild this version of ourselves from the inside out. So what does that look like? Well, with the south node and the moon being in your third house, there's likely some communication you need to have with other people to maybe put a closure or an ending to certain circumstances in your life. There might be something that you really need to wrap up in a bow and say, this is done, and I have said my piece. I have shared my truth, shared my reality. The third house is also a house associated with our own mindset and our way of perceiving things, and sort of like the filter, especially with the ninth house also involved, which is a house of belief systems. When we have both of these houses involved, it's like we can really decide to look at our life differently based off of the adjustments that we want to make to our filter and our beliefs and our perception of things. What story do you want to make out of something in your life or for yourself in terms of an identity? Do you want to build up a new story of who you are and your life path? Or similarly, do you want to rewrite a story around, old relationships or old commitments and things that have, just like felt out of balance for you? So I pulled the human cell, and this to me is talking about, not to me, but to the deck, is talking about the foundations of who we are, our core beliefs, and our essence. And I feel like that's very much talking about the sun and the north node being in the ninth house. You guys are going through a phase in this next year where you are coming into a new set of beliefs about your own identity. That's in Aries ninth house. That's a big part about your whole life, is like, who am I? What makes me unique? What is my own creative essence? What's great about me? What do I need to pursue more of? How can I build myself up? How can I have the proper boundaries as well? Aries is very protective of itself so that it can understand itself as a separate sense of self. So if we're having no boundaries, it's like we can start to mold and take on the characteristics of those around us, which is Libra south node. Like, let's leave that behind. Maybe you guys have been influenced by people or situations or things, and it's time to end some kind of pattern associated with that and fully step into this north node in Aries, where you have, again, like a firmer sense of self and concept and getting to know yourself on a deeper level. Like, what do I really believe in? What do I really trust in? What do I see as my paradigm for how the world works? And so I think that this is a really important time for you to be digging deeper into those questions. I also pulled the bridge card, and in the positive sense, the bridge can help us move between realities. So, okay, a couple things coming to mind. First of all, the bridge, if we've heard of like the rainbow bridge, this is something related to, I believe, our ancestors passing and how they can cross the rainbow bridge. So there's something here where maybe some of you guys are experiencing some type of loss or a transition from one phase of life into another. And you are radically transforming as a result of losing this thing or going into a new phase of life, going into a new place. Some of you guys might even move, like, oh, I'm ending this chapter and I'm moving here. But there's a sense of transition of I'm going from here to here. And it doesn't mean you have to abandon your old self, because I think that the bridge connects those two realities. but it also doesn't mean that you stay in one place. And so the light side of this is acceptance, magic, and communication. And the dark side is lacking boundaries and forcing connection. So you can ask yourself, am I accepting the reality of something shifting in my life and needing to walk away from it? Or am I trying to force something? Am I trying to remain in a connection? Am I trying to remain in a place that doesn't suit me, that's creating imbalance in my life? And that's what this bridge is helping you try to come into acceptance and communicate your piece and move from one phase into another phase. And one of the reasons I say that is because the ruler of this eclipse, Venus, is in Pisces with Saturn in the 8th house. So they're conjunct together. Venus and Saturn together already can indicate that there could be some kind of relationship ending or an ending to the way that we valued something, and a change up to that area of our life. But on top of that, this is also in the 8th house, which is very much about loss, letting go, transforming old energies, facing our fears, understanding our deeper psychological nature. And so I feel like that's a lot of what you're going through with this bridge card, is like you are trying to come into a deeper understanding of the self by being willing to let go of something that isn't serving you anymore and reconceptualize your identity and your new beliefs and walk over into a new reality. And I think the following eclipse is where you're really going to start to see some of that take hold. But I think this is more so like, what do I want to let go of? What do I not want to carry with me into this new reality? And I really feel like once you're doing that and you let those things go, you're actually going to notice that your career takes off, or that you have some kind of advancement in terms of life goals. You have some doors open in terms of, again, advancing your kind of your objectives, like who do I want to become, but also especially in terms of career or public recognition. If you are in a public field, it's like things will pick up a lot. And that's because Venus and Saturn are sextiling Jupiter and Uranus in your 10th. So if you're willing to do that inner work, if you're willing to transform yourself, to view yourself differently, to let go of old attachments, I think you'll notice that, again, your career advances in such a significant way that you're like, why didn't I do this sooner? So it's like being willing to think about things differently, I think, is a really big part of this eclipse and will serve you well. So that is what I'm saying for you, Leo. If that resonates, I would love to hear from you down below. Please share your stories with me. That really helps my practice. Also, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye.